Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you. Hello there. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Genius. I'm your host, Alex Baer, CEO and founder of Genius Juice, that delicious organic coconut smoothie you can find in a lot of stores. Anyway, I'm not going to promote myself here. That's not what the show is about. It's about bringing on amazing entrepreneurs, people that run companies in the food and beverage space, investors, advisors, consultants, operations people. We bring on everyone. We run the gamut for CPG on this show. So thank you for joining us. We have a great guest. Great. I'm using the word great here for a reason. You'll find out why in just a sec. But before rolling into our guest, wanted to give a big plug to the man. Which hand here? Is it this way? Is it this way? This way. Mark Nicholas, Mark N at ManhattanBeachStudios.net. He does editing, he does photos, he does videos. He did our recent Costco box that launched in a bunch of stores in Los Angeles. So he knows what he's doing. He is great at photography. So that is, and it says recovery report back there. I'm sure they're going to fix that. Maybe I can be a host of that show too. Okay, well, we're going to keep going here because we're already too deep in here. So, introducing my guest, I got Mark, talking to me on my headset. While he's fixing that, let me introduce my guest, Erica Liu Williams. She's the founder of gr8nola, right? She was an Olympic trial swimmer. gr8nola is delicious, low-sugar granola made with a unique, functional superfoods. gr8nola was born in Erica's kitchen during a cleanse, tested and proven at the farmer's market, and voted into the pantries of Silicon Valley's biggest tech companies like Google, Twitter, and more. Our mission is to create superfood snacks that are as delicious as they are great, GR and the number 8, for you so you can eat, feel, and be your best. Erica, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Talk to us about your product.
Sure. So I'm Erica Liu Williams, founder of gr8nola, which is delicious, low-sugar superfood granola. So I have some pretty unique flavors, such as a matcha, turmeric, and even a black granola infused with activated charcoal. And then along with that, I have some pretty approachable flavors like my cacao, original, and cinnamon chai. So all of my flavors are soy, dairy, and refined sugar free with 5 grams of sugar per serving. Most of all, it's absolutely delicious and hope you get to try it. So I would say that I'm an accidental entrepreneur. My background after graduating Stanford in 2008, where I swam, was in the tech industry. So I'm born and raised in the Bay Area. After I graduated college, I started working in Silicon Valley, and maybe 4 or 5 years into my tech career, I started to get the itch to start my own business. And I never really thought of starting a food business. I, let alone, never saw myself being an entrepreneur when I was younger or when I was earlier in my professional career. And I started to see other people, just both who graduate from college from me or people that I work with, start their own businesses. And I started to question my path a little bit differently. Rather than thinking of my career as linear, jumping from job to job, climbing the corporate ladder, I thought, hey, what can I build or create that would create value for others as well as provide freedom and flexibility for myself? So the granola itself was something that I didn't connect the dots to immediately. This was something that was already just in my household. I was making it at home when my husband and I couldn't find clean, tasty granolas at the store because a lot of them are loaded with junk ingredients, sugar, inflammatory oils, you name it. And I decided to make this granola, and it was a staple in our household for about a year. And I put the 2 and 2 together and decided to launch this as my business. And it started very, very small out of my home kitchen at the local farmer's market on the side of my tech job. And then I quickly got it into some of the biggest Bay Area tech companies, like Google was actually one of my very first customers. So I went from hand baking granola every week for my farmers market customers to suddenly Google wanted to order by the pallet. And I had no idea what I was doing because I was a baby entrepreneur. And even though now I am 7 years into this journey, I still feel like I'm learning every single day and I'm at the beginning. And much of that is attributed to the fact that I took about 4.5 years to actually go full time in the business. So I would say that I am not the person that dreams this huge vision and thinks that, I'm going to climb to the top of the mountain, I start really, really small. And then if I start to get traction, then I start to look a little bit wider and broader. And eventually it pivoted myself out of the tech career to full-time food entrepreneurship.
Yeah, wow. That's a great story. And what's really interesting is you focused on like tech and food service, where most entrepreneurs focus on the retailers, right? And like going into a Whole Foods. And I know you're working to get into Whole Foods now. We talked about that offline before.
Right.
But it's really cool because you're going in areas where a lot of other entrepreneurs don't go, which is food service.
Sure.
And there's less competition. There's not as many brands. And I think you get a lot of great brand exposure, right, by going to Google and better marketing for your product. So as we move forward, I remember we talked about this last year in 2020, that you're going to be aiming more on the retail side going forward this year. Mm-hmm. So tell us more about that.
Sure. So as we all know, in 2020, the world changed, and that also included the shutdowns of all these offices. And since my bread and butter was supplying businesses who now can largely operate remotely, so we're talking about the Googles, the Facebook, the Twitters of the world, it's forced me to think about channel diversity, because I was so heavy into this channel. And it was a great one while it lasted, because you get massive volume, you get to keep all the margin, there's no marketing that you need to do, and you're maybe one of two granolas in an office, and you usually stick there for a long time as long as the employees like your product. Now, prior to COVID, I was starting to do a little bit of a shift into retail. I've been dipping my toes into it because I really want to understand my data. So number one, what's my sell-through? Number two, what are my top SKUs? And just sort of what the marketing mix is to get to the levels that I need to be at. So, and when I say last year, that's actually 2019. But this is 2019 is when I started to dip my toe into retail and got into about 50 stores, figured out really quickly, hey, I might need to think about renaming or optimizing my packaging, renaming my flavors to better position myself to sell on the shelf without doing demos. And I really took that as an opportunity to get rapid feedback versus trying to jump into the deep end of the pool, learn, but then you get tons of charges because you need to change things along the way. But as I think about this year, I'm still taking a pretty regional channel-specific approach. So given that I'm a higher price, more premium superfood granola, I'm going to be tackling the natural specialty market, primarily in California and up to the Pacific Northwest. And this is primarily anchored around a lot of that food service market that I've had my product in these tech offices for many years. So Northern California is my largest channel by far, but then there's so many tech offices that I was in for many years up in Seattle and Portland. And so that seems like a natural fit to have my retail follow that. And then Southern California, I have a larger direct to consumer presence down there, and same with food service.
And then you just talked about, at the very end of that, about direct to consumer, right? And aiming more for that. I think, as with this being posted on LinkedIn, people are adjusting and pivoting on where they sell their product, right? Where retail, which is still great right now, there's less foot traffic, people are ordering more online. So what are you doing, and what's your advice to entrepreneurs on? You're traditionally in food service, traditionally in offices like Google and Silicon Valley, and now you're getting into retail. How are you really going to pump volume online? Like, what is a strategy that you're going to be doing this year? I figure since you're in Silicon Valley, you probably know more about this, right? I'm just making stereotypes here. Yeah, you're, a web geek, right? That you're going to know what to do and know how to get it on the web and get people to buy it. So tell us more, you Silicon Valley genius, about how you're going to get it online and get people to buy more of it.
I'm smirking here because I am an athlete. Don't you forget. So I'm trying to unclaim the geekiness.
There are geeky athletes too. There's plenty of those.
For sure. It's a spectrum. So with direct to consumer, first of all, I think my product lends well to subscription, and it's light, it's shelf stable. It's a product that people eat every single day ritualistically. But I think traditionally, when people think of food and beverage and direct to consumer and selling directly on your site, it can be challenging because generally your cart value, your AOV is just not going to be as high as an apparel company or, a supplement company or a beauty brand. And you're competing for the same media spend. So at the end of the day, I think it's all about unit economics. So what's your lifetime customer value? And then can you, acquire customers within a threshold that's healthy for you, and, what your philosophy is around growing your business, growth over profitability. So over the next quarter, I'm going to be restructuring my site to push more around subscription, really making sure that my funnels are super strong in Klaviyo for email marketing, and trying to figure out that ideal first-time customer offer that is sexy enough for people to convert on an ad, but not so sexy where they want to cancel from a subscription right away because they just wanted a freebie. So I'll be testing some paid acquisition through Facebook in particular, and just seeing what the data tells us, right? So maybe get a couple hundred customers, track them over time, see what their lifetime value and behavior is. And if that balances with the CAC, the cost per acquisition, then let's put some oil on the fire.
Wow. Yeah, you are an athlete and also really smart at this D2C stuff, I got to say. So you have the best of both worlds here, because you threw out a lot of really good things here about customer acquisition cost, customer value, repeat purchases, right? Coming back a second time and a third time to buy product. And the key word you said is subscription. I think people are not going out as much, and they want it delivered to their home. And granola is something, like you said, ritualistically is every day or every other day, hopefully every day, every morning or every afternoon, there you have it. That's something we're working on too, is subscriptions, right? Because that's where, you get a discount on there, and also more bulk, right? Like we've learned that we can do larger bulk, a 12 pack or an 18 pack instead of a 6 pack, get people to do larger quantities on subscription to last them for half a month or a month. The margins and the profit will be better per unit when it's larger amounts being shipped to that customer. So really cool stuff. I think, subscription is the way to go. So what are some other strategy? I guess the other thing I want to cover is you've been really bootstrapping it, which is really impressive. You have been able to go for 7 years, have consistent revenue and rising revenue year over year, by literally just taking your margins and your profit and reinvesting it into the company. You have not raised a lot of money, right? With this, is it all self-funded at this point?
Yeah, I got an SBA loan from coronavirus for the emergency disaster loan, but food service has enabled me to grow the business within my own cash flow. So I maybe started the business with $20,000, $30,000, broke even supplying Google on the side of my tech job because there was always margin in there, and you're not really using that to reinvest into that channel. And then I've been able to grow it. So I'm really proud of that. But I would say that in a way, 2020 is really kind of even the playing field a bit, because all of that is essentially gone. So that's where I have to find this balance between knowing that retail probably won't be profitable right away. You have to invest to get your product on and off the shelf. But then direct to consumer, you can definitely invest to grow, but to what extent do I need to be profitable? When do I need to see that payback, if at all? Or does it make sense to just grow, achieve kind of break even, but then, get other sources of financing or raise money to accelerate that? So I'd say I've constantly been in this more conservative approach mindset, and I'm going to need to kind of figure out my next step around, my tolerance for being a little bit more aggressive and spending a little bit more money. But COVID has definitely changed the game. But prior to that, it's been a lot easier because of food service.
It really goes to show you that there's different strategies depending on what product you have and the category or the industry you want to go after, whether it's retail, whether it's D2C, where do you want to get your revenue stream from? But I think a lot of entrepreneurs miss this key thing, which is you need to have margin, and you need to eventually break even and be profitable. And more companies today are focusing on margins and breaking even and actually having EBITDA, and not having to raise as much capital and not having to dilute your shares as much. So you keep the company, you keep the shares, you get to grow your company and also have net profit to reinvest back in the company and growth. And that's becoming more common now because of COVID. It's been harder to raise money. There's still money out there, but people were tighter with it. Definitely in 2020, a lot of investors are tighter with it. So having a strategy like what you have, I think, is a great case study to how to really run a company sustainably, lean and mean, get revenue, and still be profitable or at least break even. But you're definitely right. Retail can be a beast. It's more expensive depending on where you go. There's slotting fees, there's chargebacks or scanbacks. It definitely is pay to play just to get in and market your product next to, 50 other granolas, right, that are on the shelf. So you know that you're going eyes wide open into this opportunity, knowing that, which is important. So next segment we have, because we've covered a lot of amazing things, this is a little bit on the lighter side, is our new segment, our new program called Rapid Fire Questions. Rapid Fire Questions. Okay. Is this a surprise to you, or did you see any episodes yet where we did this?
I listened to Mark's just now.
Oh, that's right. You're on. So you've seen it. He spoiled the surprise. Damn it.
No worries.
Yeah, so it's funny. Yeah, we have usually, to explain what she just said, we have a few guests in a row when we do the taping, and usually the guest that's like we had Mark Samuel with I Want Organics. Erica was on deck to come in next as a guest, and so she got to see the last segment of Mark's. So now she knows. The what's going on. Okay, so list of questions. You already know what the questions are, but pretend like you don't.
Sounds good.
NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
NSYNC.
Thank you. That's very quick.
No hesitation, unlike Mark.
I know. He had to think way too hard about that.
He did.
First thing you do when you wake up?
I check my phone.
Yep. Usually when people say that on this show, they go, unfortunately, I check my phone.
Yeah.
Movie you can watch an unlimited amount of times?
Hangover or 21 Jump Street.
Great. Yeah, Johnny Depp and Bradley Cooper. Song you can listen to an unlimited amount of times?
Why am I thinking about this when I already heard the question? The Snoop Dogg one, the 1, 2, 3 into the 4. That one, nothing but a G thing. Yeah, nothing but a G thing.
Yeah, nothing but a G. I was going to say the one where he raps. I don't know anything about Snoop Dogg. From here, right? A native in LA. Favorite national park? By the way, if you put marijuana or CBD in your granola, he will be your investor guaranteed. So just something to think about. Favorite national park?
I don't have one. I'm not a national park person.
What is your spirit animal?
A tiger. I'm born in the year of the tiger.
Nice.
Chinese zodiac.
Yep. Yeah. And this is the year of, what is this year?
The
ox?
bull? Yeah. Yeah. The ox.
Right? Yep. My wife's Chinese, so I'm up to date. Cool. Up to date. I'm trying to be up to date.
There's only 12, and you just got to do multiples of 12.
Exactly.
You know enough people. Yeah.
Window seat or aisle seat on an airplane?
Window.
Peanut butter or almond butter?
Either 50-50.
Okay. Peanut butter is in one of your flavors, right? I believe.
Oh yeah, it'll be launched by then. Yes. Okay. Actually, cool. It's pre-order already. So.
Okay. Cool.
No
cool.
spoiler.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. No spoiler. We can always cut that out, but we won't. We're gonna load it right in. Cold weather or hot weather?
Hot weather. Cold
brew or hot coffee?
Neither. I don't drink coffee.
Me neither. Hell yeah to no caffeine.
Green tea.
Green tea and matcha.
Green tea. Yeah, matcha.
Yeah, it has caffeine, but clean caffeine. No jitters, no crash. LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
I'm not much of a sports fan, ironically.
But I thought you were an athlete.
I know, but see, I'm breaking the mold. I like the Olympics, but I don't know. I guess Michael Jordan, just because he's just such an icon. And I don't know. My brother liked the Bulls.
There you go. You're just like, yeah, by default, MJ. You're like the most unexcited, as far as picking Michael Jordan, the most unexcited choice. You're like, Jordan, I guess, All right.
They're both okay.
They're just okay. Yeah. Ginger or turmeric?
Both together. I would do a ginger shot. I know turmeric's more expensive. So I feel like if someone's going to offer me a juice of a glass of ginger, a glass of fresh pressed turmeric, I'd probably go for turmeric for the value.
Right on. Favorite food or drink? You were stuck on a desert island. You cannot say Genius Juice, and you cannot say your brand, gr8nola.
I guess like nuts, almonds. I'm really thinking of like sustainability, not about indulgence.
Got it. That's very eco-conscious of you on an island. Thinking about sustainability. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. So that is our rapid fire questions with Erica Liu Williams. She is the founder of gr8nola. So this is episode 35. Thank you again, Erica, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thanks for being patient too, because I know we were supposed to tape this last year and then things got
no worries.
pushed back a little bit. So glad that you're able to join us. Okay. So episode 35 in the books, 15 minutes of genius. I think it's our first athlete/entrepreneur that's been on our show. So that's pretty big. So big plug, Mark Nicholas. This way. No, it's this way. 15 minutes of genius, episode 35 in the books. And one more thing, stay geniusly granola, my friends.
Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.